Do you believe wholeheartedly that Jay's your father?
I really do. And if it's not, why you can't prove me wrong? Like, it's not far as a proving me wrong thing. It's go to the courtroom and basically do what everybody else would have to do. Like, it's not, you don't have to prove me wrong. I just want the truth.
What if the man sitting at the top of hip-hop's throne was hiding a secret that could shatter everything? Not a scandal, not a headline, a son. For over a decade, Rymir Satterthwaite has claimed he's the biological child of Jay-Z. No lawsuits for money, no media tours, just one demand: the truth. But Jay-Z, one of the most powerful, protected, and image-conscious figures in music history, has done everything in his power to make that truth disappear. Court records vanished. DNA tests dodged. Legal filings buried deeper than a Rock Nation vault. And now, the silence is cracking. Because the courts have spoken, Rymir's paternity test is finally moving forward. And Jay-Z? He can't run from it anymore. But that's only the beginning, because the deeper you look, the darker it gets. This isn't just a paternity dispute. It's a web of sealed documents, strange disappearances, underage allegations, and power plays that make even Hollywood blush. So grab your seat, because the Carter Kingdom might be standing on shakier ground than we thought. Before we dive into the legal smoke and media silence, you need to know who Rymir Satterthwaite is and why his story refuses to go away. He's not a clout chaser. He's not some wannabe rapper looking for a spotlight. He's a quiet, reserved man who spent most of his life living under the shadow of a single life-defining question: is Jay-Z my father? According to Rymir, his mother Wanda had a brief, secret relationship with Jay-Z in the early 1990s, long before the world knew him as Hove, before Beyoncé, before the Empire. She never changed her story, not once. And when Rymir was just a boy, she told him what she believed was the truth: your father is Sean Carter. But Wanda passed away in 2019, never seeing that truth confirmed. In her final years, she fought to bring the case to court, battling not for money, but for answers. And when she died, Rymir made a promise. He would carry the fight. He would chase the truth. And here's the thing: he's never asked for a dime. No interviews demanding cash, no lawsuits for inheritance, just a DNA test. One swab, one answer. That's all he's ever wanted. But instead of closure, he got walls, lawyers, silence, and a legal system that seemed to bend for power. Rymir's journey started with a question, but what he uncovered on the path to an answer was something far more dangerous. And the deeper he pushed, the harder someone pushed back. For most people, a DNA test is simple, fast, final. But in Rymir's case, it's been anything but. Because for over a decade, Jay-Z has reportedly done everything in his power to avoid that single, decisive swab. And we're not talking about ignoring a few emails. We're talking full-blown legal gymnastics, jurisdiction battles, sealed records, missing documents, and court maneuvers so precise, they look scripted. Every time Rymir's legal team gets close to an answer, something happens. Files go missing. Judges recuse themselves. Entire case histories vanish from court databases. And somehow, Jay-Z's legal team always comes out untouched, unbothered, and untested. According to court filings, at one point Jay-Z's attorney even claimed he didn't own property in New Jersey, only to later admit that wasn't true. In any other courtroom, that would be considered fraud. In this case, nothing. No sanctions, no consequences. Just another delay in a case that's been dragging since the MySpace era. And while all this unfolds, Jay-Z says nothing. No press statements, no interviews, no public comment of any kind. Just silence. Loud, calculated silence. But sometimes silence says more than words ever could. Because if he's really not the father, why fight this hard to avoid a test that would prove it? Why throw millions at lawyers when one swab could make it all go away? The longer the silence drags on, the more people start asking the question Jay-Z doesn't seem ready to answer. And Rymir? He's still standing, still waiting, still asking for the truth. But what happens when that truth threatens more than just reputation? What if it threatens the entire foundation of an empire?
Just when you think this story couldn't go any deeper, a new detail surfaces, one that could change everything. According to Rymir and his legal guardian, Wanda was just 15 or 16 years old when she allegedly had her brief relationship with Jay-Z. Let that sink in. If that timeline is accurate, this wouldn't just be a paternity dispute. It could carry far darker implications. We're talking about territory that raises serious legal and moral questions. Because in most states, including New York, That age is below the age of consent. It's worth saying clearly, these are allegations, and they remain unproven. But the moment this detail entered the conversation, the tone of the case shifted. It wasn't just about identity anymore. It became about accountability. And it might explain why Jay-Z has been fighting so hard to avoid a DNA test in the first place. If the results confirmed Rymir as his son, they wouldn't just rewrite Jay-Z's legacy. They could expose something far more damaging from his past. This isn't the first time whispers have followed Jay-Z about his history with much younger women. Fans have long speculated about patterns in his relationships and associations. But if Wanda really was underage at the time of conception, this would be explosive. And the silence? It starts to make a lot more sense. Because when your past has the potential to detonate your future, staying quiet becomes the safest move. But how long can that silence hold? Especially when the truth is knocking at the door, backed by legal momentum. And that brings us to the part of this story that feels more like a psychological thriller than real life. As Rymir's case moved forward, something strange started happening. Things that felt less like legal resistance and more like psychological warfare. It began with unmarked cars parked outside their home. Then came the phone calls at odd hours. Vehicles driving across their lawn in the middle of the night. No words, no warnings, just a creeping presence that wouldn't go away. Rymir's legal guardian, Dr. Lily Colley, said it felt like a shadow had descended over their lives. And then it got darker. Rymir's car was mysteriously shot up in a parking lot, his car and no one else's. Around the same time, unfamiliar figures began knocking on Dr. Colley's door at 4 in the morning. Sometimes they didn't knock, they just circled the property, over and over again. Some would call it coincidence, others might call it intimidation. Either way, it sent a message: back off. And if that weren't enough, allegations surfaced that Wanda, while still recovering in a hospital from a medically induced coma, was pressured into signing legal documents that removed Dr. Colley from the case. That change made it easier for Jay-Z's legal team to get the case tossed. And they did. Just like that. But Rymir didn't stop. He didn't disappear. He didn't fold. Instead, he went public, appearing on interviews, naming names, and exposing what felt like an invisible hand trying to crush his case before it ever reached a courtroom. And every time he stepped forward, the pressure dialed up. Now ask yourself, if there's nothing to hide, why all the smoke? Because at this point, it wasn't just legal strategy. It was starting to look like a campaign to erase the truth before it ever saw daylight. And while the world kept spinning, that shadow, it never left. Now, on the surface, Aaliyah has nothing to do with Rymir Satterthwaite. But when you step back and look at the patterns, who had power, who didn't, and who was silenced, it starts to feel eerily familiar. In 2001, Aaliyah's life was cut short in a tragic plane crash. Official reports pointed to an overloaded aircraft, questionable paperwork, and a pilot allegedly under the influence. But to this day, fans and conspiracy theorists haven't let go of one chilling rumor: that Aaliyah didn't want to board that plane. Some say she was sedated. Others claim she was carried on board unconscious. None of this was ever proven. But what has never stopped circulating is the conversation around the powerful men in her orbit. And Jay-Z's name always seems to surface in the background. Not as a suspect, not with direct involvement, but as someone who allegedly pursued her before Dame Dash entered the picture. And that's where the connection hits: powerful men, vulnerable stars, and sudden silence. It's a formula we've seen before: influence used as armor, image used as distraction, silence used as defense. Whether it's Aaliyah, Rymir, or someone else entirely, the pattern remains. Those without power struggle for a voice, while those with power build walls to keep control. And when those walls start to crack, stories like Rymir's don't just resurface, they ignite. Because maybe this isn't just about one man and a DNA test. Maybe it's about how many stories like this exist, and how long the industry has buried them. Through all the twists, filings, and fallout, one name has remained mostly silent: Beyoncé. Publicly, she's never acknowledged the Rymir situation. No comments, no interviews, no visible reaction. But behind the scenes, that's where things get interesting. Sources close to the case suggest Beyoncé hasn't been nearly as distant as her silence suggests. According to reports, she's been present in private legal briefings. She's allegedly had a say in the Carter family's media strategy, especially when Rymir's case started gaining traction online.
And if the rumors are true, she wasn't just watching, she was steering, allegedly pushing for a more aggressive PR approach, managing optics, and ensuring the public face of the Carter empire stayed clean. It makes sense. Beyoncé's entire brand is built on motherhood, empowerment, and control. She's the image of grace under pressure. But that image doesn't leave much room for controversy, especially the kind that calls your entire family's foundation into question. So, the silence? It may not be passivity. It might be calculated, strategic, chosen. Because when your brand is justice, but your reality involves a potential decades-long cover-up, every move has to be perfect. And while Beyoncé continues to shine in public, awards, performances, sold-out tours, Rymir's story casts a quiet shadow in the background, a reminder that even empires built on perfection can have cracks just beneath the surface. But this isn't just about public image anymore, it's about legal momentum. And for the first time, the Carter family's strategy of silence is starting to lose ground. Because what's coming next can't be controlled with a press release. After more than a decade of delays, denials, and disappearing documents, the court has finally spoken. A judge has officially given the green light. Rymir's paternity test can move forward. And this time, Jay-Z's team can't just sidestep it with emotion or hide behind jurisdictional ping pong. No more ghosting, no more silence. Jay-Z has to respond, legally, publicly, officially. This moment changes everything. For years, the legal strategy was simple. Delay long enough, confuse the courts, bury the paperwork, and hope the problem fades. But Rymir didn't fade. He kept filing, kept showing up, kept asking for the one thing Jay-Z refused to give, a simple answer. And here's the twist that hits harder than most people realize. Under New Jersey law, if someone refuses a court-ordered paternity test, they can be presumed to be the father. No test, no confirmation, and the law can still rule against you. Jay-Z's team knows that. They fought tooth and nail to avoid even reaching that moment. But now, the moment has arrived. So the question shifts from, will he take the test, to what happens if he doesn't? Because the courts aren't playing anymore. And the public? They're watching closer than ever. Rymir is no longer the only one demanding answers. The system that once bent around power is finally showing signs of snapping back into place. And that's when empires start to tremble. Jay-Z isn't just a rapper anymore. He's a living brand. A billionaire mogul, a husband to Beyoncé, a father of three, a symbol of generational wealth, transformation, and power. And that's exactly why this scandal cuts so deep. Because if Rymir's story is true, if Jay-Z fathered a child with a teenage girl and spent the next 30 years erasing that truth, then the entire foundation of the Carter empire starts to fracture. Not just morally, but legally, financially, and culturally. Think about it. The man who's built his image on honor, fatherhood, and evolution might have buried one of the biggest secrets of his life. Not to protect his child, but to protect himself. That's why the DNA test matters. It's not just about paternity, it's about accountability. And the longer Jay-Z avoids it, the louder the speculation grows. Is it pride, ego, fear of the fallout? Or is there something darker that he simply can't afford to let the world see? This isn't just Rymir versus Jay-Z anymore. It's one man's truth going up against a legacy built on silence. And no matter how many lawyers, NDAs, or sealed court files get in the way, the truth doesn't die. It waits, it lingers, it finds cracks. Jay-Z has always controlled the narrative, but this time, he might not be the one holding the pen. Because when the curtain drops and the lights go out, legacy isn't defined by awards or headlines, it's defined by the things you tried hardest to keep buried. Rymir Satterthwaite isn't asking for fame. He's not asking for money. He's asking for something far more dangerous in a world built on image: the truth. For nearly 15 years, he's gone up against wealth, silence, and a legal system that bends under pressure. He's watched judges recuse themselves without reason, documents disappear, and doors slam shut in his face. All while the man he believes is his father continues to rise, untouched, unbothered, and untested. Jay-Z has built an empire out of reinvention. From Marcy projects to Forbes lists, from street legend to family man. But what happens when the truth you avoided becomes the very thing that defines your legacy? Because this fight is no longer just about paternity. It's about what happens when a system protects the powerful and punishes the persistent. It's about how silence can be louder than words, and how one man's refusal to be erased might be enough to crack the foundation of an empire. And the question that lingers now isn't just, is Jay-Z the father? It's, what else is buried beneath the empire? Because if Rymir is telling the truth, then this isn't the end. It's the beginning of something far bigger. And if even one more voice finds the courage to speak because of him, then maybe that's the legacy that will last. So now it's your turn. What do you believe? Is Rymir really Jay-Z's firstborn son? Or is this just a case of mistaken identity wrapped in decades of silence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because one way or another, the truth always finds its way out.